Hello, everyone. Good night here. Elohim, again, welcome here. This time, I bring this amazing person. I have been reading this book from months ago. I really enjoy this book. If you follow me on social media, you probably noted that I post this book over and over and over because I really like it. I'm really enjoying this book. The most questionable thing here is that this amazing, beautiful person next to me, Victoria Constantino, she wrote this book called Tarot by the Moon. For many years, I was repeating over and over, we don't have anything else to learn about tarot or astrology because I am a stubborn, I am Capricorn. So usually when I made a mistake, I am in there hanging out in that mistake. But every time that I read a new book, it's a slap on my face. And it's, oh, this is new. I didn't knew that. I don't catch that. Oh, I never think in that way. So this is very interesting when books make you question your beliefs and your practice after so many years. This book is really nice. First of all, I should ask some questions to her, but I will take this opportunity to tell you why I really like this book, because if you are a real professional tarot reader, probably you are using the same readings, the same ways over and over. This is pretty new for you. If you are a beginner and you are looking how to start, this is very nice because she's offering you a spread for every month, for every occasion, for every situation, for every feeling. So sometimes I'm like, I want to try something new because this spreading is not working for me. Actually, 2 or 3 months ago, one of my friends asked me in a chat, do you have any reading very short that I can use for this situation? And immediately I have the book for you. So immediately think I need to talk with her. Welcome, Victoria. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Before to start with the book, I need to know you very well, and people will like to know you very well. So I need to ask you, where do you live, and what is your favorite thing about your city? Something that really keeps you in there, something that you really love about being in there.
Yeah. So I actually live in Birmingham, Alabama. I was born and raised in Florida, or not born, but raised in Florida. And Birmingham, Alabama has been my home for about the last 7 or 8 years. I briefly moved away from it to another city, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. All of my favorite places, the things to do here. It was a surprise. I didn't really expect to love it so much when I came here. When I moved here back 7 years ago or so. And I love, it's actually called the Magic City. And the history behind that is sort of just to distill it a little bit. It sprang up so fast, and so it was then called the Magic City. It sprang up around the steel industry, and it's just, there's a lot of magic here. It's more of an energetic kind of a vibe here that I love. The people, the shops, and everything. It's actually very hip, and it's a lot of fun. So I can't say enough good about Birmingham.
Thank you for that. I love when people make me travel in my mind around the country because I am the immigrant here. I am the new one. So I enjoy when people give me all of this information. It's super nice. You made this book, Tarot by the Moon. It's many books about tarot out there. It's many books about divination out there. How do you put together all of this information that you have in your expertise, in your years of experience? How was this process for you? Because I imagine that with a publisher or an editor, when you propose, oh, I have this book of tarot, it's probably, we have many. How yours will be different? What are you offering? I have the book, I know how it's different. But how was this for you? I mean, from the moment that you started writing the book, at the moment that you propose the book, because it's a very interesting book that I'm really enjoying with all my followers and with all my readers.
Thank you. I love this question. So the way that I came by this book was I channeled it, and I knew that there was a book that I was going to write. I'm already a writer anyway. I have other books out, but they're not in this field at all. They're like for a business publisher, nothing to do with tarot at all. I really, I said, I'm a writer, and I do, writing for a living, and all of that's my focus. But really, what would I want to write about if I could write anything? And obviously for me, the obvious choice was was metaphysical writing, and I love tarot, and I've loved tarot since I discovered it when I was a teenager, and it was always really something that's close to my heart. I wanted to write something that was helpful to other people as well. I didn't know, for a long time, I knew there was a book wanting to come out, but I didn't know what it was about. And I knew it wasn't going to be another book for a business publisher. With this one in particular, you know, I said, okay, I got to figure out, I got to let the idea come to me, and just got in meditation and allowed the idea to come in, and finally received it. And I received it by the title first. It wasn't the concept, it was just the title. And I thought, that's a great concept. And now what do I do with it? And I understood that was my work, to figure out, you know, I got the title, and what is this book going to be? I get to I get to shape it. I get creative license. I get to figure out what do I want to do with it. I knew, you know, already a couple of things that I wanted it to help others. And I also wanted it to be, you know, I knew it would be something channeled. And so that was important to me. As I was writing and crafting the book, to have something that was, you know, channeled from, you know, my higher self, my divine aspect, and just to bring that information through what would be most helpful to people right now in the world. Because we do, as you said, we have so many tarot books, and I tried to write something that was completely apart from anything else that I'd ever read or that had been written that I was aware of. And so, you know, also knew that, you know, Llewellyn was looking for something original and unique, because, you know, there's just so many books out there. You know, how can I make something original? And to me, I knew the answer. I knew that to make something, you know, original that was unique, that's not on the market yet, it had to be channeled, and I had to just let it flow from the divine source of me. And so that's how it came about. So
Yes, I love your answer. When I catch the book for the first time, and I was uh, really clear about how is this book different. Um, but everything that is related with the moon is on my shelter. So I immediately, okay, I know exactly what it is. But first of all, I love the name of the author, Victoria Constantino. Sounds like a queen. And after that, I check the book from inside. I really like all the, I mean, all the structure, all the way how don't pretend to give you all about tarot. It's not, oh, I know everything about divination, so listen to me. It's not. This is a method that you can use month by month, moon by moon. Depending on your expertise, you can go advancing, you can go very basic. It's for everyone. It's very easy to understand. I confess this. Uh, I'm going to show one of the illustrations of the book. Please, Llewellyn, I don't have money for lawyers. Please forgive me for this. Uh, is this in the month of March, that is when you are watching this interview, she offered this sprout on Forlin. I'm pretty sure that it's not pronounced in that way. This one I haven't marked in the book because this was the first one that I put in practice. I never before see a spring like this one, and I was like, okay, I like it because the spiral, the illustration is very nice, so I will try. First of all, I need a lot of space in the table. My home is a disaster. I clean all the space. I put the tarot cards, and I immediately enjoyed this so much because uh, it was like an exercise of confidence and trust with my own deck after so many years, because this is the thing when you have so much years reading tarot cards, and you know this, uh, usually you just give for granted the things that you know. So you just take the cards, you just throw in there, you're starting just to channel the information and give to the client, and just that. And you don't immerse yourself too much in the process. When I was watching the book, immediately I was moving pages, and it was, oh, I like this one, I will try. And all the process from 1 to 10 was really pragmatic, was interesting, because from each card that I was reading, I was going deeper and deeper in the process. And I think that when I was for the card 5, when I was doing that reading, I totally disconnect from the outside. I didn't see the clock. I can listen to the smartphone. I was just totally focusing there, and I just continued the process. When I end with the 10 cards, I was like so immersed in the process. I was like, which is the next one? Oh, it's not more cards. I mean, I was totally immersed on the process. I was totally immersed on this world of cards, of tarot, of wisdom, ancient intelligence, was so much information that I was taking from them. And I immediately say, okay, now I'm going to start the book from the page one and put all of this in order month by month. That is actually what I'm doing. Do you have any favorite spread that you do for yourself or for your clients? Any kind of reading that is very nice for you, something that you enjoy to do?
Yes, I don't read for clients, so I only read for myself actually, because I'm more of a writer than anything. But really, I think I wanted, and I wanted to mention too, the different sort of like unique spreads in the book. I was seeing kind of the same ones over and over, and I was thinking, it can be so much more creative and fun. And so that's why you see like, spreads in the shape of a sun, and like a vine, and the spiral like you were mentioning. And so thank you for mentioning that. But so that was really born from my desire to get a little more creative with the spreads, and it doesn't all have to be like Celtic cross spread, or past, present, future. And we do a lot of that. But for myself, I like to just let it flow in the moment. And, because I do daily readings for myself, usually multiple times a day, like at the beginning of the day before I get started with anything. I'll start with doing my daily post for my Instagram account, but then I go and I do a reading for myself. And it's usually just, what comes forth. And it's usually like 4 on top, 4 on the bottom, what's on the bottom of the deck, and top card from the deck over here on the side. So you've got, this kind of row. That's usually how it ends up for me, but I also like to be a little more creative with it. And I think, when I love what you said about how you were working and engaging with that spiral spread, because, the intent is, you're kind of going within, and it can be a meditative process, because as you lay the cards, you're contemplating, what does this one mean? And this one follows from that, it's telling a story, but it's also an inner journey, or it can be. I think these spreads can be used in a lot of different ways. And so, just to help us wherever we are. And so that was really the intent behind it. But
Yes, I mean, you know this for fact because you are a tarot reader. When we have so many years on this area, we just assume that we know the information. We are guiding the process. With your reading, something new that I totally discovered for me, that was my slap of humility for myself, was I finally immersed of the process. And I know it was like reading the tarot. I was understanding what the tarot want to say and what the tarot is trying to say and what the tarot really need to say to me. And it's like you say, it's a process of meditation. It was privately, I was just here with my table. I always put music. It's always music in home. Um, we are Latinos here. If you don't put music, we just dry. We just die in the moment. I was listening some music, and when I was in the process, I just totally disconnect. I know was listening the music, the smartphone. I know was watching the clock. I don't know was really understanding or noting how much time I was taking. I just was in totally immersed in this total universe. Was great. Was a totally great experience. So I immediately start recommending the book to everyone. So we really appreciate this. This is a very silly question. Why you are not in Twitter?
I'm sorry, one more time, please.
Why you are not on Twitter? You are on Instagram, you are on Facebook. Why you are not on Twitter? Because we need more of this. Very silly question.
Yeah, I think I have more to say than Twitter would allow. It's such a short character limit. I also, I feel like, I'm so busy too throughout my day that it's kind of, I think, with Twitter and on a practical level, I think, I would have to have like this short character limit. So I would be creating kind of separate messages, and it's a little bit of a time concern, just more like not having the time to manage all of these accounts, but also, I don't know that I've ever really been immersed in Twitter, so I'm not too familiar with like the tarot community on Twitter, that sort of thing. So it's more maybe I just haven't gotten there yet, but thanks for asking the question. Never thought of it.
Yes, in the book you offer this experience that you was mentioned, because I read the book also like 3 times. That is with the shape of the sun. Is this reading that is called Where You Shine, and it's a sun with all the cards around. Also next to that one, you have for April, the pink, for the pink moon, you have this reading called Tuning into the Heart. That is the shape of heart. This lovely one in the month of May, that is for the flower moon, you have this reading, this reading that is trying to shape a flower. It's super nice, it's super gorgeous, the work that you made here. And you offer not just information about how to do the spreading, also you offer information about the moon, about the phases, about the cycles. You offer prayings, spells. It's a very big, great book for everyone, especially if you are like us, when you have so many years doing this, sometimes you need someone take you to the ground again, like, okay, this is something new that you need to learn. Victoria, this book is practically new in the market. This means that you was probably doing edition and all of this in the recent years. This takes me to my next question. How was 2020 for you?
Ooh, that's a big question for so many people. And, you know, it's so interesting to hear the stories of how 2020 was for other people. 2020 for me was a year that was personally, things happened that year that were very necessary, that it was a turning point for me. It was a big 180 degree in my life. I had my book Tarot by the Moon accepted by the publisher in January. And then on a very spiritual level, something began shaking loose from my life that I won't go into great detail about, but it was something that was always there that I wasn't aware of really on a conscious level, but it needed to go. And it was so important. So, you know, a lot of huge sea changes were happening for me within and, you know, and on an external level as well. I discovered where I needed to be, and I got a lot of great clarity. It was a judgment card moment for me, 2020. You know, it was just this great clarity. You know, you see everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's a moment of just really coming clean to yourself and saying, oh, you know, I didn't really realize it, because, you know, you're just kind of, a lot of times I think we just kind of go through life and we're just on this momentum and doing whatever we're doing without really seeing some things that we need to look at. And sometimes they're just hidden and we maybe don't want to look at them, or we just maybe can't see them for whatever reason, because we're so focused here. We've got the blinders on and we can't see over here or on the right. And it's just, so that was a moment. 2020 was a year when the blinders came off for me and everything changed, and it was so good, and it needed to change. It was bumpy. It was a bumpy ride. It was a rough ride, but it was necessary and it had to happen. And I'm so glad it did. And, you know, it changed everything. So where I am now, I'm grateful to be here. So.
Thank you for sharing that, Victoria. If, first of all, you have or you practice, or are you interested personally in learn any other divination system? You know other one, you practice other one, or you're interested in other one?
Oh, I'm very interested in other divination systems. I'm currently learning more. I actually am reading the I Ching right now, and so really interested in that. And also, my next book is going to be about divination systems generally. So a lot of different divination systems. So it's
exclusive here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to start writing that. And so I'm in the research phase right now, where I'm just reading about different systems throughout time, throughout history, and all over the world. And I really want to explore that unification of you know, human history and cultures, you know, divination systems, how people have historically practiced divination, because, you know, ultimately divination is a way of connecting with the divine, and we can use so many different methods of doing that. But what I personally use, you know, tarot is number one for me. It's the one that I use daily. I also really like runes, and I'm still learning more about them, and I haven't worked with them a whole lot, but I, you know, have a rune set that I bought really recently, and I love it. You know, pattern divination is something that I haven't found a whole lot of information about, but, you know, it's basically seeing patterns in nature, you know, and divining information and symbols from that. And so, yeah, those are, I guess, my top three that I love to work with.
I really want the book now. I like I read runes. I have my own set of runes that I bring with me from Venezuela, because runes are very popular in there. Because in spiritualists, in traditional Venezuelan spiritualists, that is called in Spanish Espiritismo Venezolano, we have a path that celebrates the Vikings who comes to America before other people. In that path, people read runes and these kind of things. So I learned a little bit, and I continue learning from the process. I Ching is one of the most beautiful and complicated methods to learn. I have a couple of videos that I will send to you after this conversation that will blow your mind. I need to find them. They are very, very well about teaching. It's like all the information that you need. I see each video like 5 times. Thank you for that. My next question here is, if you could travel to the past and to the future. First of all, if you travel to the past, what advice do you would like to give to yourself 10 or 20 years ago? And if you could travel to the future, how do you would like to see yourself in the future?
Oh, okay, good questions. So advice I would give to my past self, I would say, you can do it and believe in yourself. Don't doubt yourself for a moment. Trust yourself before you trust other people. And, to my future, I would like to see myself in my best and highest possibilities that are possible for me in this present incarnation and lifetime. I know that's very broad and sort of vague, but whatever that looks like for me, whatever is good. And I don't want to, I kind of hesitate to like guide it too much and say, I want to do exactly this and be exactly here, because there may be always something better. And so I just want to be open to something better, better possibilities. So whatever's best for me.
Got it. Thanks for sharing that. Two silly questions that I always make to each one of my friends. These are questions that every time that I am in a meeting with people, I'm like, ask this to me. Did you remember which was your first book on magic or divination?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really remember. I do know that with my first tarot deck, I bought it, I think I was like 14, and I found, it was my first time going into a metaphysical shop, and I was just in love with all of it. I thought it was amazing. And I found this tarot deck, and it was the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I guess technically it was the Rider-Waite-Smith guidebook that came with the tarot deck. And so that really, was my introduction to tarot interpretation. And then I also was kind of reading through it and thinking, some of the things I kind of didn't really resonate with me, that they were saying, like the meanings they were giving for the cards. And I realized then, okay, there's more to this. It was such a tiny little book that came with the pack. And I thought there's more to this that I could really explore and unpack over a lifetime. And I have.
Got it. And do you remember which was your first spell or magical ritual that you did?
I was probably in high school, and I think it was more of like a manifestation spell, just to make something, to create some kind of positive change for myself. And I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but it probably involved like candles and incense and some herbs. I think it was probably fairly straightforward. And I'm not sure at that time. I kind of thought of spells and that as more of like an idealistic thing. I wasn't really quite sure if they worked or not, and didn't have the experience that I have now. And over the years, I've had spells work really well, and some very powerful ones, as I think anyone could say who's been working with them for a long time. But that first spell, it was kind of like, okay, we'll see if this works or not. And it probably involved like writing intentions on a piece of paper and like burning it in the candle flame or something like that. So
Thank you. Do I mean, obviously you're a tarot reader, so you are a diviner. Do you identify yourself like a magician or a witch, a magical worker, a psychic? I mean, how do you identify to someone?
Yeah. I do get this question quite a lot. And, I think that a couple of years ago, I would have told you I was a witch. But I prefer not to label anything because I found that, at least for myself, to put a label on it was to limit myself. And so I guess if I had to call myself anything, I would call myself a seeker. Just a seeker of knowledge and wisdom and truth and my own truth. And so I'm on a continual journey of learning and growth and expansion and just trying to figure things out. So
Okay. You work of a store. You work in this store. And in this store is your book in there. And I don't know you. I am a total stranger with this very crazy accent, just watching the books, and I ask, "Oh, do you know this author? Do you know about what is this book?" The person who sells books, the vendor, is not there. But I have your book in my hands, and I'm asking this question, and I don't know who you are. What do you recommend me? What do you say about this book?
yeah. I would say this is not your typical tarot book where you can flip through and find the meanings to the tarot cards. It isn't that, and it's not meant to be that at all. This is a way to use tarot on a journey of self-exploration and expansion, and it's also intended to empower you and to help you find, different ways of working with the tarot. And also information, little tidbits of wisdom on working with tarot, but not just about that. It's also about, manifestation as well. That's a big aspect to it. So, there's the spell and ritual work, and also information kind of, about like the law of attraction and, working with crystals and that sort of thing. So it's really meant to empower you and, on your journey, on your spiritual journey.
Got it. Uh, do you? I know that you are like how can I say this? Now we are all in this community. We offer classes, we do books, we do podcasts, we do everything. We are multifaceted. You are a little more very focused in your personal work and in your book. But do you offer any kind of classes or workshops for now, or is a plan that you maybe could have for the future?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. I know a lot of writers now do all of it. I don't do any podcasts. I have three social media accounts, both Instagram and two on Instagram and one on Facebook. And then, as far as classes, I might shift to that in the future. I do have a class that I have been working on and building. So it's more of, working with tarot, and it's more along the lines of Tarot by the Moon, where it's really meant to help empower you on your tarot journey. So that could be possibly forthcoming in a few years, but it's not an immediate priority. I think my bigger priority now is to focus on writing my next book. So
Yes, and these things take time. It's not something that you just rush and try to do and burn it. The best things take time. The best projects in life take time. If you do something very fast, you just end tired and probably with a project without quality. It's better when you focus in, I want to have this in the next 2 or 5 years. I want to write this book and I want to have it ready for in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So you can take the time, you can develop a whole plan of work for that and do it with calm. Because if you do it faster, probably you end having something without too much quality and you will be tired in the end. And after the book or the project comes out, you are like, oh, I could do better. So it's better when things take time. Uh, if it's at least one thing that do you want that people take for this book for the rest of their lives? Some lesson, some tip, some advice, which will be?
your best guidance is within. Tarot is a tool to help you tap into that intuition and guidance that is always available to you. And it's a beautiful way of doing that, but your own best guidance is always within. So
Wow, I really like that. I will remember that. People, please remember that. Try to remember every line, every word that she is saying now. Try to remember that. Try to write down that. It is super important. Something else that you want to share with everybody and how people can find you?
Yes, so you can find me on my website at victoriaconstantino.com, where I post tarot spreads for every month. And also I do a big one for the entire year ahead. So of course, you know, there's already the one for 2022 available on my website at victoriaconstantino.com. And then I'm also on Facebook at, it's Victoria Constantino Author. And on Instagram, I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is victoria.constantino.author, and the other is Tarot by the Moon, with every word separated by underscores. So if you find me, good job.
Anyway, all the links to her book, links, Instagram, Facebook, and everything else that I can find about her because I'm stalking her. Every link will be here in the description of this video. Thanks to everyone. People, please remember, support your authors, support our places, support our bookstores. They really need us. If you can find the book in a bookstore, if you see that the book is not available in one bookstore, because that happens sometimes, don't yell into the owner. Don't do that. Don't be Elohim. Just ask to the owner, please, you can bring this book so I can buy it from you, and they will do it because it's very easy for them. Sometimes we have so many authors, so many books, so many options that they really are overwhelmed and they don't know what to choose. So head to your owner stores to choose the books that you want to buy. Support our bookstores, botanicals, podcasters, and people, especially our authors, because it's very easy to take a quote from an author and put in Instagram, oh, this is the author and blah, 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 and just take something from the author, but it's more difficult for them to put all of this right down in a book. This can take months, can take years. And please support our amazing, beautiful, super smart author here, Victoria Constantino. Thank you, Victoria, for this.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.